In Synergy, the peers initially need to choose the assigned work to continue with the review. Then, the review tasks will be displayed. For feedback planning, peers need to first assess the assigned work by clicking on this first task. In this page, the student work to be assessed will be displayed as a read-only Google Doc. Under this document is the rubric created by the instructor. Here, students need to provide a score for each criterion according to the quality of the work. Then, they need to click Save the Scores button to submit their assessment. Similarly, the student also needs to choose the student role to continue with the reviews on his or her work. They will have a different list of review tasks. First one here relates to feedback planning, where students need to assess their own work using the same rubric. It is almost identical to the page where peers do the assessment. Once self or peer assessment is made, a notification will be sent out to everyone, that is, reviewing peers or the student being reviewed. Clicking this notification will take the students to the page where the comparison of all assessment scores is provided. The rows represent the students and the columns represent the assessment criteria. The higher the score, the darker the cell color. Just below this visual, the assessment items with a score difference of 2 or more are listed for discussion. This value of 2 is system default and can be configured by the instructor. Students can click the Discuss button for any of the items to provide the rationale for the scores. For example, for this criterion, a reviewing peer enters the discussions to share the reason why he gave a score of 2 as opposed to others who gave a score of 4. Similarly, the target student can access the same discussions to indicate his agreement or disagreement. This discussion is supposed to continue until students explain their rationale for the scores and reach a consensus on the quality of the work. You may have noticed that the page where peers assess the assigned student work, there are these feedback tasks buttons, and these FD buttons corresponding to each rubric item. Synergy uses the concept of feedback task to help peers collectively plan their feedback ahead of time before providing it. Note that feedback tasks are just notes that peers take for themselves to plan their feedback. Actual feedback should be posted later on the student work, based on the plan. For example, upon giving a score of 1 for this item, the reviewing peer can click on this FD button to create a feedback task to plan his feedback. Before doing that, he first checks the existing tasks created by other reviewing peers to ensure that his intentions will not overlap or contradict with those of others. The number of feedback tasks, created by any reviewing peer, is displayed via a gray button just under the associated rubric item. First 3 rubric items have 2, 1, and 1 feedback tasks, respectively. Clicking on these gray buttons will display the feedback tasks. After ensuring that his intentions will not overlap or contradict with others, the student clicks on the FD button to display this form of creating feedback task. Again, this just serves as note-taking for planning the feedback. The actual feedback will be provided later. Here, the student needs to provide a short title and an optional description and click on the Submit button to create the task. Students can also use the Feedback Planner tool to access all feedback tasks and manage them. Through Feedback Planner, reviewing peers can create a new one, or edit or delete an existing one. They can also discuss them by click the Discuss button, for example if they have some doubts about a peer's planning. Feedback planning should be completed before the deadline set by the instructor.